Hello and welcome back to Core Finance. I'm Matt Brown. I'm joined today by Nicole Elliott, who is a technical analyst and a private investor, and this is the first of 3 videos. So thank you very much for joining us today, Nicole. And we start off with cable, currency of the day and possibly of the week.
That's right, and I've got a weekly chart to coincide with this week and what's going on. And what you've got here on the left-hand side, that big spike, is when we voted to Brexit. And at the bottom was some sort of disaster when the world and his mother was convinced that Britain would fall off the edge of Europe and be doomed. And where we are today is exactly the halfway mark of those two. That's that solid horizontal red line. And it also coincides with the top of that massive flat top bearish cloud. So no wonder we're struggling today. And then this diagonal line at the top, which we've just breached this week, so you can see how sort of poised the whole thing is. That's taken from a high in, I think it's 2011. So do you know what I mean? This is big stuff that we're fighting against here. So we went up to 1.333 and sort of yesterday, and now sort of come down because we've got Bank of England interest rate decision, and I'm not worried about what they're going to do at all because it's sit on your hands. And anything other than that is silly, in my opinion.
Understood. I mean, if we have it feels like a copy and paste job. We were speaking off air about that. But if we do see a more hawkish stance, technically as well, put together the technicals, fundamentals, the pound could break out to the upside.
I think it should. I think it will, regardless of the Bank of England in a way. Do you know what I'm saying? And the reason, it's not that I'm being facetious, it's just that what we're witnessing right now is the US dollar that's on a key long-term chart level. It's at its weakest since the beginning of 2015. And it's a level that over the last couple of years we've tested several times. So on the US dollar index and a whole host of other major currencies. Cable is just one of the many, and the laggard as well, not surprisingly, with the headwinds of Brexit and all the rest of it. So what I am a little bit worried about are the sort of comments that the Mr. Carney, the governor, might make after the announcement. You've also got 2 new chaps on the Monetary Policy Committee, so we've no idea what their sort of stance is. I'm guessing as newbies they'd sort of go in with the herd and not rock the boat.
not rock the boat, but maybe trying to make a name for themselves as well. We may see one of the members descend and be a hawkish, take a hawkish stance there. But I mean, overall, the Bank of England, are they getting it right or getting it wrong?
Well, I mean, not just the Bank of England, but the fact that in some countries unemployment is very low. In some other countries, the participation rate is very high, on multi sort of decade type measures. Inflation is low, very low in most of the world as compared to historically. Yeah, I mean, okay, Britain, we've got 2.9% CPI. When I remember when CPI was up at 15% regularly, regularly. So again, for Britain, okay, it's a lot higher than Eurozone or where else, Switzerland or something. But 2.9, well, first of all, the Bank of England has got to write another grovelling letter, haven't they?
But it's nothing to write home about. I mean, it's a letter to the government. But really, it's a
stupid formality, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, what sort of idea was that when you designed the Bank of England independence? You've got to write. It's like being at school and having to write lines, isn't it?
Oh, very much.
When you misbehaved.
Very much so. So, albeit that the pound is rising, but I think the key thing is here it's the dollar weakness, and the pound is a laggard against other currencies.
And the pound is still cheap-ish relative to other currencies because. This year, since January, the US dollar has weakened against everything, bar the Hong Kong dollar, would you believe, which is 1% weaker. But anyway, so this is there's a much bigger story than a pound story, and the pound is cheaper than many other currencies. And therefore, there is a certain element of catch-up if you can face living through Brexit negotiations.
That's key. Well, on that note, Nicole, thank you very much.